All right, what is up, YouTube boxing fans of my channel? I wanted to make a video for, uh, yeah, I guess I'll talk about this. Shout out to Mr. Dante's Boxing Nation. I'll have up the link for you guys, for, uh, for the description. For those of you that don't know, the American boxing team is doing pretty well for U.S. men's and women's boxing. We have one girl from America. She's from Ohio. Her name is O'Shea Jones. She's a sister of Otha Jones the third, and I believe she has a brother, if I'm not mistaken. She does come from like a pretty big family, but she's in the finals for her gold match against some Chinese woman that she'll be fighting on August 4th. And then the other guy from the men's, or three other guys from the men's tournament, or no, two guys are going into the semifinals. I'm pretty sure they're going for their semis tomorrow, which would be tonight probably, from my end, because it's 1:59 right now, and I'm sure in Tokyo it's gonna be the next day over in Japan. But Keyshawn Davis and Duke Reagan should be fighting for their finals. Hold on, let me take a look at that. Duke Reagan, yeah, men's Olympics. Yeah, he advances to the semifinals, so he will be facing some really good Cuban fighter, or no, he'll be facing some Ghanese, yeah, Ghanese, Cuban or Ghanese African fighter that is really, really good. This kid does not play around. He's gonna have a really tough ass matchup. Um, I believe. Hold on. Yeah, let me look at the brackets. If they shit, I'm hoping that they got these brackets. But let's see. Man, oh man. I'm hoping that they got it. They could just, possibly show it here for boxing. For boxing. Do we got boxing, please? Boxing. Hello. Bro, where the fuck is boxing, bro? Dude, this is why that I don't like the Olympic website, because like what they do all the time is that they be bullshitting on like these events, and then they don't organize like who's fighting who, or like what teams are gonna go into competition with one another. Oh man, if I could find it. Give me boxing. Jesus Christ. Okay, I cannot find boxing. If I can, that's unless I can sports. Can we get boxing? There's no boxing. Okay, boxing. Thank you. Please, boxing. Give me the schedule. Schedule, please. Alright, so let's see. We have, no, not Saturday. We have August 2nd. Yeah, August 3rd. Who's fighting August 3rd? Alright, Duke Reagan is facing Takiki. I don't know like who this kid's name is, but his name is some kid, Samuel Taki, or Taki. He's a really good fighter. He's 20 years old. He's out of Accra, Ghana. This guy had defeated some really good competition. He defeated a good Colombian, Segura Avila, and then Pachito Casillo. Yeah, he this kid is really good, very decorated, but he's going up against a really good pro fighter that is in the amateurs by the name of Duke Reagan. He comes out of that Ohio nation. He is very good out of Cincinnati. This guy is a monster. He defeated a Kazakhstani fighter and a French fighter. He whooped them. And I believe, I believe the recent fight was the Irish fighter. Yeah, the Irish fighter. So Duke Reagan is pretty much on his way to getting gold. He has two more fights. He has to beat this kid, and then if he beats him, then he's on his way to the finals, which the finals will most likely be that Cuban fighter that I don't know If I'm not mistaken, he's a really good fighter, by the way. He is no joke. This guy is really good. If I could find him, uh, hold on. If I could just find like the boxing Olympics, yeah, like the boxing schedule. I'm sorry, because they just don't really have this, have this shit organized properly. But if we can just get boxing, please. No, they don't have it because, Olympic website is a bunch of dumbasses. But let's try to find this once again. Okay, here we go. All right, so we're going to go to the day. We're going to go to August 3rd. All right, we have Duke Reagan. We got Keyshawn Davis versus this guy, Magnemov. This is to lead into the semifinals. So I believe Keyshawn, he is fighting, yeah, tonight. So he's going to fight tonight because it's already 2 p.m. over here. So over there, it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be at 11:48 at night, my time. So he's going to fight this guy. This guy, he's a pretty good fighter. I'm not going to lie. Magdamov, I've seen this kid fight. Yep, 27. Yeah, this guy is pretty good. He doesn't, yeah, he doesn't, come to, yeah, he doesn't come around to lay down. He's a very decorated amateur. He's out of the Russian Federation. Yeah, like that matters, but he's the Russian official community or some shit like that. Yeah, that's what they call them. But yeah, I think Keyshawn is gonna style on this guy. He's a really good fighter, but styles make fights, and I think Keyshawn, where he's at, he's just on a whole nother level. If he utilizes his defensive IQ and he just hits this guy, right to the body and just slows him down, with some good hard counters, especially hooks, I could see him knocking this guy out clean. Because he knocked out his last opponent, and that was funny. I was actually kind of like surprised he actually caught this guy just lacking, and then boom, he just beat the living crap out of him. It was pretty easy to see that go down, but I'm actually happy that Keyshawn got the victory because he's no one to be played with. I don't really appreciate that the Olympics allowed professionals to join the boxing amateur level of the Olympics. I kind of feel like once you go pro, you shouldn't be able to be in the Olympics because I think that rule kind of allows like fighters like, let's just say a Deontay Wilder in his first year of boxing to walk into the Olympics and then he could just straight up knock out every single heavyweight because he already knows how to fight. He already knows how to switch up his style. He already understands what the style and the amateur. So it's like, as a pro, if you know how to hit somebody at the right spot at the right time, and knowing that if it's a Deontay Wilder that has a one punch knockout power, that can be a very difficult problem for a heavyweight coming into a fight like that. Not to say that a guy at his level or similar to his level can't be beat, but it's a very, very high risk matchup to put a guy that has some professional experience with a guy that has amateur experience, but he's not used to getting hit the way pros hit onto amateurs because those pros have a more brutal way of hitting somebody, in a amateur fight, and they're probably going to think of it more like a pro fight because you're more used to your punches getting capitalized onto the body more, versus in an amateur fight, it's more to do with just the speed of punches, making sure that the judges see who's gonna land more, versus in a pro fight, it's all about what type of punches do the judges see to make those punches more accurate. And I think that's not the stupid thing about the Olympics, because they did the same shit in Rio back in 2016 when Shakur Stevenson, he was favored to win the entire tournament, and then he got obviously robbed by by that one Cuban, Robesi Ramirez, right? Which didn't make any goddamn sense. But when Shakur was, you know, depressed that he lost, everyone looked back at that fight and they actually found out that Shakur, he was actually landing the more cleaner shots onto Robeisy Ramirez. He wasn't like, he wasn't styling on Shakur. He had a very difficult matchup with, Shakur, and Shakur, he was hitting him with some mean shots, like, shots that you see him hit now in the pros that are actually dropping people in fights. But I think what, Rabasi knew from that fight is that he wasn't being so effective with those shots as he thought he did, because Shakur, he was hitting him with some mean shots back, and Rabasi, he was getting touched up, and to a certain degree, he almost got he almost kind of got stopped in certain rounds in that fight with Shakur, where where Shakur, he was hitting him with some mean combinations. So I just see that that the judging in the amateurs is a lot more biased than the pros, because of the pros, they mainly just look at performance levels. They look at how a fighter reacts in a round, which I don't like how the judges score in the pros either, because they just look at how the fight goes. They don't really analyze who's really landing more, who's really giving the more eye-catching, shots. And then if the crowd is like reacting like, ooh, ah, hey, that guy hit him with that mean left hook, or that mean right hook, or that girl hit her with a mean body shot, blah blah blah. Like, judges will be biased on that, but in the amateurs, it's probably more biased because they don't look at the fight as a real fight. They just look at it, okay, who's gonna hit more than who, and then whoever wins that wins. No, it doesn't make any sense, because you could have at least 113 punches landed, but out of each round, how many of those punches did you actually land within a round? Just because you have 113 punches landed total does not mean you had 113 punches out of each round being higher to outscale the opponent that was hitting you with more cleaner shots in those rounds divided. Because if those shots were hitting you more versus your 113 punches, like, let's just say I hit, 105 and you hit 113, but in 3 out of the 5 rounds, I was hitting you with 30 plus more punches versus your 113. You hit me late game into 2 other rounds. Then I should have won, right? But no, that's not how judges see it. And that's why the Olympics is so, how should I say? It's very biased, and there's not proper regulation of judging to make sure that fights are going to be edged out properly in a match. But moving on to our other fighters that are on their way to gold in the finals, this will be O'Shea Jones versus H. Gu. I'll just put it like that. I don't want to butcher names. She'll be facing that Chinese lady. I think she's gonna smoke that girl. If she's successful, congratulations to her. I believe she's gonna win gold. So hopefully, she can get her business done. That's gonna be done on August 4th, along with Mr. Ricardo Torres Jr. that will be fighting for the men's super heavyweight gold finals medal match against K. Kukembayev or Kukabayev. Yeah, so I mean, I'm actually pretty happy for this. This is gonna be 2 probably difficult fights. I don't know how it would go down. I'm hoping O'Shea, she does not get robbed. She is a lovely fighter, and she deserves everything that she earns. And I think she's gonna definitely come out successful in the gold finals match. As for Ricardo Torres Jr., I think he's going to definitely give this Kazakhstani guy a problem. I haven't seen too much film out of this guy. I mean, he's a decent fighter to say the least, but you should never count out Kazakhstani fighters. I think those fighters tend to give a bit of an apple cart upset But I think stylistically, Ricardo, he should get the job done. I definitely would have it 60-40, Torres Jr.'s way. But I really hope he does, do the same thing what he did in his last fight against the Cuban. Use his jab. Don't be afraid to you know make a fight uncomfortable, to force inside pressure, and make sure that the fight itself is very rough, rugged, and you apply pressure to the body before you apply pressure on top. Because how this kid fights, he fights like a mini version of Tommy Morrison, in a Mexican way. But like what I like about him is that he has good, ring, generalship to control the fight a lot more viciously, and he has a very good IQ of knowing when opponents are, you know, leaking their weaknesses to him. So he has good ring IQ for knowing when to take advantages on opponents in order to win a fight. And when you compare him to Tommy Morrison, or the reason why I compare him to Tommy Morrison and Dante's Boxing Nation, he compares him to Tommy Morrison. It's very similar in the way of how Tommy moves his feet and how he gets gets those pressurizing punches onto his opponents to break him down. And I think what Torres should do is that he should break this guy down and just chomp him down like a tree, because I think eventually this Kazakhstani, he's not gonna respect that style, and he's going to resort to defensive defensive countermeasures, where he's not gonna have to throw as much punches as possible. I mean, if Torres can force this guy to clinch more, and Torres can start letting his hands go a little bit mid to late game into the rounds, I could have Torres winning by either a 4-1 decision or a 3-2 decision, because this fight isn't going to be easy. I mean, anybody fighting for gold is going to come out swinging, and I'm hoping Torres, he can come out dominating this guy in a very difficult fight, because this ain't going to be easy. I mean, there are some holes that Torres has. He leaves his hands wide open when he throws looping hooks, and he needs to be a little bit more active off his jab. But he also needs to move more. He can't just be sitting up inside the pocket. He can't just be taking chances at punches that he knows that are coming. Because, remind you, men don't have headgear on. The women only do. So the men have a higher chance of getting hurt more, in the Olympics. So, especially fighting at super heavyweight, that's going to be a very difficult matchup, of getting punched more by a guy that has a potential to knock you out in the fight. So I personally think Torres, he needs to move around more in this fight. He needs to utilize his jab, make more pressure to the body, and then he will definitely get this guy hurt, if not possibly stop him. He definitely has power, but I would not want to use my power early, use it later into the fight, and get this guy, out of there if you see a opportunity. But if you're going to go for a split decision or unanimous decision victory, I would definitely, push let the pressure onto my opponent early, and then late game, try to slow it down. And then if you see some good shots, then you hard counter, and then you reset, because you don't want to make your opponent confident in the fight, because if you do that, your opponent is going to use that as a primer to come after you sooner than later. So either way, that's pretty much what I have to say. In regards to the Duke Reagan, Keyshawn Davis situation, I think these guys are going to have the toughest matchups. I think Duke Reagan, he's going to be going to war with that Taki kid. He's a very, very good kid. He's very talented in his own, respectable right. And I give him nothing but respect, because he is nowhere to be. Yeah, he's nowhere to be played. He's really good, and it was kind of good that the Cuban competition got taken out because the guy that was supposed to fight him, uh, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, Duke, he's in featherweight. This guy, uh, El Alvarez, if I'm not mistaken, he won his featherweight contest, and then I believe he got knocked off, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not too sure, because I'm almost positive he lost. I am almost positive he lost. Because it doesn't make any sense. Oh, unless he probably is going to be in the final. Okay, because we go to August 5th. If he beats this kid, he should be next in line to face him in the final. Okay. Got it. Final bout. Okay, got you. So I believe they have 2 more fights. Okay, I am very sorry. So Duke Reagan and Keyshawn Davis have 2 more fights. And if these guys if Keyshawn beats this kid Magdamov and then he wins the semifinal and then the final, then he will get gold. So he is on his way to getting gold pretty soon. And then Duke Reagan, same thing. He has to get through this kid, and then he'll be meeting he will be meeting who's that guy? Yeah, Iglesias, right? No, not Iglesias. Yeah, Iglesias is gonna meet McCormack. Uh yeah, Andy Cruz. Wait, Andy Cruz, he's in lightweight? Oh yeah, Andy Cruz is also in Andy Cruz is also in Keyshawn's division, so if he gets past that guy, if Keyshawn gets past Magdamov, he also still has to he also still has to worry about Andy Cruz. So it's gonna be between Gazimov or Nikia or Andy Cruz or this Teixeira guy. No, not Teixeira, De Oliveira. So yo, this is gonna be a tight ass division. Cause also Duke Reagan, he has Alvarez. He's a really good fighter. I've heard a lot of things about him. No joke. Yeah, so the featherweight division is on fire because you got the best fighting the best. So you got some really tough ass athletes. So I think it's gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be a war. So I think that's what's gonna happen. And I have nothing but respect for a lot of these guys because Duke Reagan, he's been winning. So all he has to do is just keep winning. And I think if he beats this African kid, he will be on his way to face the winner of Alvarez and that other guy or whoever is next in line. Because we all know it's going to be a Cuban at the end of the day. So, yeah, be sure to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. And I'm out. Be sure to support these fighters when they start fighting. They will be fighting probably tonight, which will be around, I want to say tomorrow. This has to be tomorrow for August 3rd. Yeah, so it has to be 11:30 in the morning or 11:30 at night. But who knows? Let me know what you guys think. I will have the link inside the description. And yeah, USA baby, let's get that gold. We're close to it. And shout out once again to Miss Beautiful Jasmine Camacho Quinn. Oh my God, proud of that girl. Long live Puerto Rico. And I will see y'all. Thank you. Bye.